Welcome to Packed With Flavour, where we crack open a booster pack and take a look at all the flavour goodness that's inside. Today we have a pack of Dominaria. This set was released in 2018 for the 25th anniversary of the game and pays homage to the main setting of the game's early story. Along with a guaranteed legendary permanent in each pack, new mechanics introduced are the saga card type and the historic mechanic. Almost every card references characters or events from Dominaria's past and the modern era fight between the new Weatherlight crew and the reformed Cabal. It also marks a one-off return by Richard Garfield to the design team. The art director was Mark Winters. Let's get cracking. Okay, so first up out of the pack we have Serra Disciple, art by Victor Adame Minguez. The Church of Serra, with its disciples and angels, was formed around the pre-mending planeswalker, Serra, who many on Dominaria mistook for a goddess due to her affinity with angels. Serra also went on to create Serra's Realm for her angels and disciples, a new plane formed of mostly white mana that was eventually tainted by the Phyrexians. Bloodstone Goblin, art by Magali Villeneuve. Notable for being the only goblin to date in Villeneuve's Magic portfolio, an artist typically called upon to depict beautiful and noble figures, such as angels, planeswalkers and wizards, Villeneuve still manages to employ their signature style on this lowly creature, with flowing rags on its clothing and a deep glow of its weapons, providing a more elegant look to this goblin than many of its kin. Next up we have Arbor Armament, art by Bayard Wu. A nice nod to the archery motif of this art, to the tradition of green creatures with the archer subtype having interaction with flying creatures, such as the reach ability. Broadly speaking, archer is a creature type that changes its flavour drastically in each colour. For example, white archers rarely interact with flying creatures, but instead have attacking blocking matters abilities. Collego Skinwich, art by Darken. The Skin Witches of the Collego Marshes in Benalia worship the Demon Lord Belzenlock, the new head of the Cabal. They typically use the skin of their victims in rituals, or as the flavour text reveals, wear their faces to chant incantations in praise to their lord. They also make a minor appearance in episode 2 of the Return to Dominaria stories by Martha Wells. Unwind, art by Anna Steinbauer. Mechanically a nod to the card Rewind, which is 4 CMC and untaps 4 lands. The hourglass that Joyra is holding in the piece makes reference to her affinity for time magic, much like her Tellerian Academy classmate and friend Teferi. Joyra herself is 1,200 years old, having gained near immortality through consuming water affected by temporal rifts. Next up is Shivan Fire, art by Grzegorz Rutkowski. Shivan dragons are some of the most vicious in all the multiverse and fit the more classic European dragon aesthetic when compared to the varied dragon races on Dominaria. They trace their lineage from the elder dragon Vivictus Asmadi and are at least as intelligent as humans, even represented in the Council of Shiv that runs the volcanic continent. Blood Tallow Candle, art by Elena Dana. The card art is a direct reference to the card Profane Memento. Looking at this card also tells us that this skull once belonged to an angel. The flavour text references the character of Whisper Blood Liturgist, a high-ranking member of the Cabal, who has their own legendary creature card in the set and is killed by Radha during the Dominaria story's climactic battle. Pegasus Corsa, art by Matthias Kollros. A nice synergy between the flavour text and mechanics of this card. When you attack with this creature, it gives another creature flying, much like the Pegasus itself, bearing its rider into the air. This also marks only the 4th mono-white card for Kollros, out of currently 110 commissions for Magic the Gathering. Lanowa Elves, art by Chris Rahn. Rahn offers this new artwork for the iconic mana dork that perfectly captures the warlike and aggressive nature of the Lanowa Elves of Dominaria. Whilst not the only warrior tribe amongst Dominaria's many elven peoples, the Lanowa have a particularly xenophobic history against outsiders. They also have strong ties to the planeswalker Freyalise, worshipping her as a goddess. Thorne Elemental, art by Darken. The flavour text reads, The first law of Yevamaya is that guests may kill only to survive. As fires aren't needed in the warm weather, cutting trees for wood means death. The Yevamaya forest itself is a single sentient organism that tries to work in harmony with those who it allows to dwell there. The embodiment of this consciousness is the Marrow sorcerer Multani. Chayna's Torment, art by Vincent Pruce. Sagas were introduced in this set and depict the histories of Dominaria through multiple modes that act like chapters. Each also uses a different art style better suited to their tale. This saga depicts the story of the pit fighter Chayna and his corruption by the artifacts known as the Mirari before being consumed by the nightmares he sought to master. This card also shares its name with one of the novels linked to the Odyssey block. Danitha Capuchin, Paragon, art by Chris Rallis. The Capuchin are the most powerful family amongst the 7 ruling houses of the Benalia region. Danitha and her younger brother Raph, who is also depicted in this set, are descendants of Gerard Capuchin, hero of Dominaria and one of the key members of the Weatherlight crew during the Phyrexian invasions. Danitha herself had the opportunity to become a crew member under Joyra on the newly reconstructed Weatherlight, but declined to better protect her borders against the reformed Cabal. Steelleaf Champion, art by Chris Ryan. The Steelleaf are an elite fighting force within the Lanowa elf tribe that pay special deference to their goddess Freyalise. As the flavour text implies, they wear an eye patch much like the one worn by the half-elf planeswalker. This practice is said to allow them to see the true nature of all living things, whilst also letting them see the goddess within. Basic Swamp, art by Titus Lunter. Many of the basic lands in this set depict the ruins from the Phyrexian invasion of Dominaria. This particular land shows what many have taken to be the crashed remains of the skyship Predator that was a rival to the Weatherlight. However, when asked if this was the case, Lunter himself stated that this is a more generic ruin, although the Phyrexian influences are undeniable. Thran Temporal Gateway, art by Jason Felix. Little is known of the Thran Empire, the ancient, technologically advanced culture of Dominaria. Their relics and ruins are still found across the plane, inspiring artificers including Urza and his brother Mishra. One prominent member of the Thran was the future father of the Phyrexians, Yawgmoth. The theme of portals and gateways are a motif found throughout Magic, often linking planes of the multiverse. And our token for the pack is a Sapriling, art by Steve Prescott. Prescott's art for this Sapriling is one of 3 Sapriling tokens for this set. This particular fungus seems to be inside a structure made of wood and metal, so it's most likely the skyship Weatherlight, which would directly associate it with the uninvited crew member Slimefoot. And that's the pack. Dominaria is such a well-designed set, having a strong balance of nostalgia for old-school players and fresh designs for newcomers. And with a heavy reliance on narrative and individual characters, the set is a goldmine for flavour and story. Let me know in the comments below what your favourite pick was for the pack, and what other cards from the set got your Vorthos juices flowing. If you enjoyed the video, it would help us out if you like, share and subscribe. Also, don't forget to check out our full-length podcast, Magic the Flavouring, for all things Magic flavour design and lore, found wherever you get your podcasts. And you can also catch us on Twitter at MTFlavouring. Thanks for watching, we'll see you next time.